William Crane's 1972 Blacula, a vampire blaxploitation crossover, is the first of its kind. The movie begins with Prince Mamuwalde and his wife Luva approaching Count Dracula in the late 1700s with a proposition to abolish the slave trade. Having been insulted by the Count's racial ignorance, noble Mamuwalde and his beautiful wife are set upon by Dracula's vampires, and he is enslaved into vampirism by the Count, who names him in slave trade fashion.
I curse you with my name. You shall be Blacula.
Blacula is freed from his coffin and momentarily from his insatiable hunger for human blood in downtown Los Angeles, where he gorges himself on the interior decorators who shipped his coffin from Transylvania. From then on, it is up to Dr. Gordon Thomas and his wife Michelle, along with Police Lieutenant Jack Peters, to find the cause of the bizarre happenings and finally track down the vampire. To complicate matters, Michelle's sister Tina is a doppelganger for Mamuwalde's wife, and she becomes seduced by him as the film progresses. The main difference between Blacula and most vampire and horror films is its romanticizing of the monster. From the opening scene, we sympathize with Mamuwalde's character. We know the monster who emerges from the coffin in LA as a dignified nobleman with good intentions. He drains the life from the two interior decorators, but does so out of necessity, an affliction forced upon him by Dracula. The leading lady falls in love with the vampire, much to our delight rather than repulsion. Giving the monster a genuine love and having that love returned makes him more human. Even Tina has trouble acknowledging his bloodlusty murders.
He killed a cop.
He killed him.
An atypical horror monster, Blacula surrenders his own existence to the dawn at the end. He is not defeated and killed by the vampire hunters, but with his love lost, he sees no reason to continue, and for this reason, in essence, he is no monster. As a blaxploitation movie, Blacula hits all the stylistic marks. Funky score, nightclub scenes, smooch segments.
My Tina, you're so beautiful.
It's also fairly anti-establishment. And of course, there's the obligatory froze. However, when interrogating the film under some of the definitions of the term blaxploitation, and compared to its seminal films, it is clear that it is rather at odds with the genre. Blacula contrasts heavily with typical blaxploitation definitions, almost to the point of a mirror image contradiction. The antagonist, having lost the girl, rather than waltz, literally struggles into sunrise to die. Most films of the blaxploitation era were little more than imitations of Shaft, Superfly and Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song. Blacula, on the other hand, follows such formulaic films on the count of musical score alone. Gene Page provides a typical soul cinema soundtrack, akin to Isaac Hayes' Shaft, Roy Ayers' Coffee, or Curtis Mayfield's Superfly. There are moments, however, when the music seems ill-suited. There is about 5 minutes worth of this performance, with 3 songs over 2 scenes, and here, as Tina walks entranced to her doom, a sentimental Stevie Wonder rip-off croons inappropriately. No doubt, these pieces feature purely as promotion of the artist, with little regard to their suitability within the narrative. Nevertheless, any incongruous music indicates the one point where the film is all-out blaxploitation. The score is used at times in spite of the content of the film, akin to Shaft and Superfly, whose scores are impeccable while their plots leave much to be desired. Where Blacula differs most obviously from the usual blaxploitation formula is a notable lack of seediness and underground activity, although granted, vampirism could be interpreted as a metaphor for such in its case. The film features no hookers, hustlers or drug dealers. The closest drug reference is implied in Skillet's character. He is obviously a stoner, but he functions purely as light relief and to juxtapose the heavy straightness of Mama Waldy.
You know, he is a strange dude.
The main black protagonist is a doctor, not a pimp or a hustler or private investigator. Gordon Thomas is a contemporary version of the self-controlled, confident, intelligent Mama Waldy introduced in the opening scenes.
Dr. Thomas is here.
Unlike CDPI Shaft, Pimp, Sweetback, or Superfly's coke-dealing youngblood priest, Blacula is portrayed at times as vulnerable and even more human than human.
Well, you must come to me freely, with love.
Dr. Thomas is the macho hero in the vein of Sweetback and Superfly's priest, but with the exception that he is an upstanding citizen. While the film's namesake, Blacula, as Mama Waldy, represents African nobility, and as Blacula, he is a monster, preying on the population of downtown Los Angeles. Add this to Blacula's white cop killing, and the audience are left to take their pick of hero. Blacula's trailer names the monster a Black Avenger, while much of the footage used concentrates on his cop killing.
Blacula, the Black Avenger, rising from his tomb to fill the night with horror. Blacula, Dracula's soul brother, deadlier even than he. The Black Avenger, Blacula, from American International Pictures.
In the film itself, during the hunt for Dracula, a good 2 minutes is devoted to cops attempting to move the street crowd on.
Please go to your home. These streets must be kept clear the streets and return to your homes.
Blacula, through being a monster, is free to cop kill on screen, like no other black hero could have in blaxploitation movies of the era. And on the other hand, he is associated with a virile and vibrant noble African past, which is now wreaking revenge on its oppressor. Rather than fitting a vampire movie blueprint, Blacula invites the audience to sympathize with the monster and his plight.
Tina. My lovely, lovely Tina. What is left for this cursed creature? His only reason for living has been taken away.
While allowing him to hold his head up with dignity, and to even have the courage to end the evil himself.
There's no need for that.
Contrary to the stereotypical vampire of that subgenre. And rather than fitting the blueprint for blaxploitation films, Blacula itself exploits the notion of difference.
Strange how so many sloppy police jobs involve black victims.
While highlighting Afrocentric black history and the plight of the slave.
Slavery has merit, I believe.
Merit? You find merit in barbarity?
Finally, for the most part, Blacula's character is portrayed as welcoming empathy. Its target audience is given the opportunity to identify with it and find catharsis in it, while recognizing the depth and complexity in the film, one which many critics fail to see beyond.